Hello, my little friends. Welcome to Lake Christian. Today we are going to talk about the birds and the bees. So, here's the thing. I'm going to call this video Pray, Love, and Lust. And I want to ask you, what's the difference between love and lust? And what does the Bible say about it? Well, I've said in a previous video about, the love sermons that I heard with a pastor that I was at his church for a while, and I'm also mentioned about, well, anyways, listen to me, so bear with me. So basically, here's the deal. I'm going to call this one Pray, Love, and Lust. And the Bible, it says you're supposed to pray without ceasing. What does that mean exactly? Well, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure. But I have a pretty good idea. And what I try to do in my personal life is pray about everything as often as I can. Now, do I literally pray about everything every minute? No. But I try to pray about more and more and allow myself to hear the still small voice that guides me. Now, how much is my feelings and how much is truly God, and what is the difference? Look, I can't tell you. I know God doesn't speak in a clear voice like I'm talking to you, but I believe God does lead us, and He shows us, and sometimes we're stubborn and don't understand or don't follow, and there's the opposition guy. He does some stuff too. Now, there's limits to what the opposition can do to Christians, true Bible believing Christians, but he has some power. So beware of, if you hear that little voice in your head saying red rum, well, it's probably not from God. But here's the thing. So praying without ceasing, I think we should all make an effort to, say grace before meals, even if it's just quietly to yourself at a restaurant, to give thanks. And sometimes that may mean giving thanks for stuff you don't want and don't like. And, when you pray and ask for guidance, there might be times when you get, the Garth Brooks song, Unanswered Prayers. He's praying about his, that his girlfriend would become his wife, and God doesn't answer that prayer. Not the way he expects, at least. What ends up happening is he meets a different woman, and later on, years later, he sees the original girl that he was in love with when he was a teenager, and he's glad. He thanks God that he married his wife and not this girl. Well, anyways, so there's a movie called Eat, Pray, Love. Now, I've never seen it. I don't know if it's good, bad, or otherwise, so I can't recommend it. Maybe watch it, and I still gotta get in the habit of looking at the comments more. So if you want to comment, good movie, bad movie, whatever, feel free. No pressure. But so the love aspect of it is this. There are different types of love. Now, in the Greek, I'm probably going to mess this up because, again, I'm no historian or official preacher or whatever, and I'm going to try my best. But basically, agape is the all-encompassing love. That is the love that God has for us and we should have for others, when our cup overflows. There's eros, which is erotic love, which is what you have for your wife or your husband. There's phileo, which is brotherly love or friendship love. And then there's a fourth one, and I cannot quite recall exactly what it is. But, it gives you an idea that, so when the Bible says love, there's different types of love. You don't love the clerk at the checkout counter the same way you love your wife. Now, there might be some lust in there sometimes, depending upon the circumstances and the genders, etc. But I'm talking in the sense of true love. You respect and you treat other people well, and that's one thing. But Dr. Willard F. Harley, who wrote His Needs, Her Needs, when I worked in radio, I actually worked for Marriage Builders as one of my jobs. And I've read his material and I've heard him speak more so on the radio, so I know his material pretty good. Now, do I remember everything and do I agree with everything 100%? No. But I know enough of his material, and I recommend it. If you haven't read any of his books and you're married or even thinking about getting married, you should probably read it because it's a pretty good advice. I've told my young nephew and nieces, they're not young anymore, but at the time, to follow this advice. I even got my oldest niece, when she got married, a copy of the His Needs, Her Needs book that Dr. Bill Harley wrote. Anyways, marriagebuilders.com has a lot of free advice and materials, a free radio show, which I used to be. I wasn't really the producer because I wasn't in charge of the content, but I was a director, whatever you want to call it, behind the scenes stuff primarily. So he talks about a love bank, and everybody has a love bank in everybody else's account. So I'll make up names, Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac. Those are the mortgage lending organizations. And Fred and Sally are not common names anymore. So I'm going to use those names to be, and I try and use unusual or less common names when I making examples. Sorry, the bugs out here. I'm wearing shorts and I think the bugs think I'm tasty. Anyways, Ice Cream Man is coming. Anyways, when Fred and Sally are married, they have, Sally has a bank, and in her bank she has many accounts for everybody she has ever known, ever meets, even people like at the grocery store, strangers, people you may not even know their name. And love units are something that goes in to the bank. Now, you can either be, like with a money bank, you can either be negative or you can have money in the bank. And if you're negative, that means you are overdrawn. So I don't want to go too deeply into the love bank, but everybody has a love bank. And when you're talking about love, Pastor Greg Boyd at Woodland Hills Church, I have some disagreements with some of his more recent theology and some of the things he said over the years, but he did really good sermons on love. I think it's woodlandhills.org. Check those out. Go back to the year 2003 or something like that, and that's when a lot of the love sermons happened. Anyways, when you see other people, you're supposed to think of them as being somebody who's made in the image of God, who has unsurpassable worth. And, regardless of what they look like, even if they're missing teeth, or, not everybody can be purdy. You got to have some level of respect because they are made in God's image and they are part of, even if they're not a born-again believer, they still have value, unsurpassable worth. And you got to treat everybody in that way. And this is hard because I'm trying to make so many points, and I talked about not being able to mind meld, but so here's the deal. When you deal with people, you have to have respect for them, and what you do affects how they feel about you, and what they do affects how you feel about them, etc. Now, the reason why I added lust into this is, men, and I'm a man, we're very visual. And, call it sexism or whatever you want. But men naturally are attracted to women most of the time. I'm not going to argue the finer points of that. We're just going to say, for the sake of this argument, that is the case. Okay, so here's the deal. You've got attraction. Now, there's love and there's lust. And look, it's okay, men. You can look at women with respect, and you're going to notice a beautiful woman. And I get that. But what do you think about that woman, and how does your thoughts linger after that is where you start getting into trouble. And I know I'm rambling much more than I had hoped. This is not easy to get to a point. I don't know.